Hi. A little late. Sorry. A few extra preparations to make. Had to get a couple things ready. Had to get the kids situated, so I think we're okay. So let me know when you pop on. Say hi. If anybody's done day 1, or if anyone's done day 2, go on day 1 or day 2 and leave some comments. Let me know what you've done. If you have any questions or if you change something up, let me know what's working. Hi, Stephanie. How to get everyone situated, and how to get a couple things taken care of. So I wanted to have some stuff kind of like pre-measured and done, and I had to get my food processor and everything set back up. So I think we're ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and then if anyone else wants to pop on and say hi when you get here, sorry I'm late. So today we're doing day 3, and today we are going to talk about some stuff you can do in the kitchen here. So I'm going to start off talking a little bit about fermentation, specifically lacto fermentation, because that's one of the easiest and most common ways. Oh, thank you. Lacto fermentation, one of the easiest and most common ways to start out trying out some fermentation at home. So curious from you guys watching, do you like any specific fermented foods? What are your favorite ones? Because there's a lot of different stuff. It's more than just pickles. So the benefits, you just type in whenever, of fermentation, well, it's good for your health, in short. What it is you use the microflora on the vegetables, and then you use the lactic acid bacteria starter, which you can get from your yogurt. Oh yes, kombucha and pickles. I love pickles too. So you use the lactic acid bacteria starter, which you can get either from your yogurt, or you can also, if you're vegan, you can use like a vegetable culture starter too. That works, but the easiest way if you want to start is you can just get your get like an organic yogurt at the store, and then you can just put it in one of your wire mesh strainers and put a bowl underneath it and just let it set, and some of that stuff, the whey will just drip down out into the bowl, and you can collect your own starter, so you can use that to make other things with. Yeah, kefir yogurt. Yeah, I made yogurt in my Instant Pot. It's pretty awesome. Kefir's good too. I've tried a couple things. You got to be careful though, because one time I made a water kefir, and my bottle I thought had a lid that released, and it didn't, and it blew up. So that wasn't fun. Anyway, as I was saying, so you can get your whey starter if you don't already have one from your yogurt, and just use that. Hey Carter, honey. So the benefit when you use that, the lactic acid bacteria will convert the sugar into lactic acid, and that acts as a preservative for your food. So it helps it last longer. It prevents the growth of microorganisms that you don't want, and it also makes the nutrients more available, so you can absorb them better, and it adds some flavor. Yeah, the water kefir, it does. And I think, there's a lot of variables too, depending on the temperature and stuff. So you gotta keep an eye on things. I don't know. It's kind of fun to play around some of these things, but if you've got a busy life and you got things going on, sometimes it can kind of be a lot to keep up with. I had the same thing actually. I was trying to do sourdough for a little while, and I had a hard time keeping up with it. It kind of was, it was kind of high maintenance. So I may try that again when I don't have an infant. I think I was just trying to do too much. So, it's fun to do these things, but you gotta kind of, pick and choose sometimes. So back to the the fermentation. So it also adds flavor. People have been fermenting foods for a long time. In fact, fermentation dates back probably as far as 6000 BC. And almost every single civilization since then has used fermentation, and it has at least one kind of fermented food as part of their cultural heritage. So some things are kimchi, chutneys, sauerkraut, yogurt, cheese, some of the other things we mentioned. But yeah, those are some of the most common things, and pretty much globally, everyone has seen the benefits and used fermentation for something. So this is nothing new. There's also a lot of links between fermented foods and your health. And those can be traced back as far as ancient Rome and even China. And Eastern cultures still use fermented foods for medicinal purposes. So truly, using food as medicine, which is awesome. There's also some evidence-based reviews that indicate that certain strains of probiotics can contribute to your balance of good bacteria in your GI tract, which helps support your immune system and also reduces inflammation in the gut, which a lot of people have problems with these days. So it's a good thing to incorporate whenever you can. You make your own things, and you can make like condiments and things, and just little things that you can add into your daily diet to help kind of boost your health. So, curious, anybody at home? Hey, Carter, honey. He's very excited about what he's watching. Curious, anybody at home, have you ever fermented anything yourself at home? Anything that you do really well, or anything that you've done that hasn't worked out, or that you've had a crazy mishap like my water kefir that exploded that time? If you have, just leave me some comments. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to get started on a lacto fermented pesto, which is pretty delicious. So what we're going to do, you made kombucha, awesome. Yes, kombucha, awesome. And some people do like a continuous brew kombucha. Like you can put it in one of those like bottles, containers with the spout on the bottom, and just kind of have it going all the time. I kind of want to try that. So let me know if you have a good recipe that you particularly like. You might have to share it with me. So we're going to get started on our pesto. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our basil leaves, and I'm going to have to use the food processor again today, guys, but it won't run as long as the other one the other day. So we're going to put our basil in here. Okay. We got basil. We got some, we got some Parmesan cheese. And again, if you don't do cheese, if you don't do dairy, or if you're vegan and you don't do any dairy or animal stuff, then you know what your substitutes are for that. You just use whatever your replacement is. Then we're going to use some lemon juice. So I'm just going to do this one. Pop this in. Do a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Sorry about the dogs. Wonderful timing. All right, here we go. All right. Got some fresh squeezed lemon juice here. All right, so lemon juice. We're going to do some salt and pepper. And you just do it however much you like. You can do some, and then you can always taste it at the end and add more if you need to. Okay, and then we're going to do some garlic. I'll post the recipe, but so we're going to do I'm making half because I didn't have as much basil as I wanted. So if you do 2 cups of basil leaves, 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, 3 cloves of garlic, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and then we're going to use a 1/2 cup extra virgin olive oil. But we don't put the olive oil in quite yet. You're going to put your basil, your garlic, your lemon juice, your cheese, your salt and your pepper, and your whey. I need, like I said, I'm doing half of mine today, so I'm gonna put 1 tablespoon of mine. If you're doing the full recipe, you're gonna do 2. Okay. All right, so we just do that, and then we're gonna start all this up, and we're gonna blend this up for a minute, and then we're gonna add the olive oil. So let me just get this going. Good, and then let me get my measuring cup here. I'm gonna do half. I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup for mine. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on, and then I'm gonna slowly add the olive oil as it's going. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna measure mine out so I know I have the amount that I need. All right. And then we'll start it up. Out. I'm gonna put it in a little jar. Let me get my spatula. Now, when it comes to salt, what kind of salt do you guys like to use at home? Because there's a lot of different kinds. There's regular table salt, there's kosher salt, there's sea salt, there's Himalayan salt. Does anybody have a favorite? I'm curious. They're all pretty similar. They've got some subtle differences in content. You know, like your Himalayan salt has more potassium and magnesium in it than the other ones do. And it's a little bit pink because of the iron oxide where they mine it from. And then your sea salt is basically just like less refined table salt. So it's got more of the trace minerals and stuff, and it's not, it's more coarse. But also because it's sea salt, you know, you kind of gotta look out for where they're harvesting it from, because obviously if the ocean is contaminated where they're getting it from, then, you know, you're gonna have more of that stuff. So things to kind of look out for. And then the like your basic table salt, actually the benefit to that one is they add the iodine, and you know, being iodine deficient is can be a contributing factor to things like hypothyroidism, which is getting to be really common these days too. So, you know, there are benefits to regular salt, but you know, you also you got to be aware of you know, anti-caking agents and things like that in the salt that make it so it doesn't stick together, because it's so fine that it can clump up, you know, when it gets moisture. That's why sometimes you see restaurants, when they put the salt in the salt shakers, you'll see little grains of rice in there, so that the rice helps absorb some of the moisture. It's supposed to help it so it doesn't stick together. Anyway, so here is your, now if you make a double batch, which I made a half batch really, then you'll kind of fill up your jar. So you're gonna take this and then you're gonna set it out, I think it was, 4 to 6 hours. So you'll just close it up and you just let it set on the countertop for about 4 to 6 hours just to let the culture kind of do its thing a little bit. And then after that, you move it to the fridge and you can keep it in the fridge. And then you can use it either like if you make some pasta, you can toss it in there when the pasta's warm and it kind of melts it down and it makes a really nice little pesto sauce for the pasta. Or I also like to use it as a sandwich spread and put it on different things. And it's really, really good on grilled cheese. You put it on the grilled cheese and then put your cheese and like a nice heirloom tomato, slice it up and put it on there. It's pretty delicious. So that's my pesto. Pretty easy. So let me take care of my hands for a second. Got some of that olive oil on my hands. I've been using that cream that I made the other day, and so my hands are feeling kind of nice anyway. All right, so that's that. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is talk about, do some elderberry syrup, because you can use that when it's cold and flu season, or if you just feel like you need to boost your immune system. A lot of people are doing elderberry syrup these days, and some studies have shown that the components of the elderberries can actually help you recover from the flu faster. I think because it's the antioxidants that can stimulate your immune system, and then there's something also called anthocyanins that act as anti-inflammatories. So that's something you can use when you, if you want to boost up and you want to fight something off, or if you're trying to get something to heal it faster. A common, traditional pharmaceutical that's used for flu is Tamiflu. And that stuff is pretty nasty. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but, ultimately they say that Tamiflu really at best maybe gives you like a day and a half of relief from your flu symptoms. And it's got some pretty gnarly side effects. In fact, it was banned in Japan in 2007 because of the side effects. It can cause delirious behavior, especially in children. There's been some people that have died suddenly after taking Tamiflu, died suddenly in their sleep. People have had anaphylaxis, Stevens-Johnson's syndrome, which is a really severe and potentially life-threatening immune reaction. There's also been reports of all kinds of disturbing cases of delirium, convulsions, encephalitis, and there are people otherwise perfectly normal children that have jumped out of windows or rushed out of their houses into the street because they're having these crazy hallucinations after just 1 or 2 doses of Tamiflu. So really, seems like kind of no-brainer, not worth the risk to take that. Homemade soup, elderberry syrup. I think those are just, let's stick with those. And ultimately, the best prevention for flu and things like that are getting adequate vitamin D, which you can get through adequate exposure to sunlight. Cod liver oil and salmon are also really good sources of vitamin D. And it's also been shown that nebulized saline solution, like saline in the air that you can breathe, and homeopathy, and also proper hand washing can be good for reducing and helping stop the spread also of the flu. So washing your hands, we keep it simple, guys. All right, so for the elderberry syrup, I went ahead and started earlier because, again, this is one of those that you need it to cool. We're not going to sit here and watch a pot cool for a couple hours. That would be really boring. So what I did was I took 2/3 cup of black elderberries, 3.5 cups of water. Again, nice filtered water. 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger. You can also use the powdered stuff if that's what you have, the dried grated or ground up ginger. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and half a teaspoon of cloves. And then also for the cinnamon, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's 2 different kinds of cinnamon. There's the Ceylon, which is like the real cinnamon, and then there's the other cinnamon that is I think the Chinese cinnamon. Anyway, this is the kind you want if you can get it, because there's a component in it that and the other one that can damage your liver if you eat a lot of it. So I don't know, I tend to stay on the safer side of things. So if there's a better option, then that's usually what I try to choose. So you're gonna put all of those items in your pot. You're gonna bring it up to a boil, and you're gonna let it simmer down until the liquid's about half or even less than half. I like to maybe take it a little less than half, because when you do it to about half, then it's still a little bit liquidy, and I like my syrup a little bit thicker. So I like to take mine down a little bit more than that. And then after it simmers down a little bit, then you're gonna let it cool till it's about lukewarm. Okay, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna strain it, and then we're gonna mix it with the honey. It's gonna use 1 cup of honey, and again, vegan option. There's, I think I put in the comments, the ingredient list, there's a vegan option for that, which I think one of them is maple syrup, and then I guess agave nectar, but I think there's some maybe controversy about agave nectar, about if that's really the best thing to use or not. So you use your judgment and whatever you prefer to use if you don't want to use the honey. So get a bowl here so you can see. I'm going to strain mine. All right. So just going to pour it through here. So we're going to strain out all the berries and the chunks of ginger and the cloves, because we don't want any of that stuff in our jar of syrup. All right. And I'm curious, so you guys at home, is there something, do you already make this syrup, or do you like buy some in the store and use it? Or what else do you like to use for, to keep your family healthy and boost your immune system and stuff, especially when there's a lot of other people sick running around, spreading stuff around? What do you guys like to do? I also like to make homemade chicken noodle soup. And I use ginger and garlic and thyme and oregano in my soup. And those all have really good qualities for fighting bacteria and virus, which is nice. And I also make another one, which I think I already put on the website. There's a recipe for a green healing soup that's pretty awesome. It's got all kinds of amazing vegetables in it. Including like kale and spinach and carrots and stuff. And then it also uses ginger and turmeric and broth and stuff, and you simmer that, and even has seaweed in it. And then you run it through your blender to smooth it all up at the end. And that stuff is pretty delicious too. And it's like a mega soup. All right, cool. So I have my strained out stuff here, and then I'm gonna add my honey. And my honey's super thick. It's like local raw honey. So you can get your honey, if that's what you're using, you can get it. The farmer's market is a really good place to get it, but most supermarkets now are also carrying a pretty good variety of stuff. So depending on where you are, you can get it wherever you like. So if this is still just a little tiny bit lukewarm, then it'll do a pretty good job of helping melt this honey down. This might work better. Okay, so we want to just mix this up. Okay, and then you'll mix it up just till the honey gets smooth. And mine is super thick, so it might take me a minute to stir it. And then you just put it in a jar in your fridge and just keep it in there and just use it as you need to throughout the season. I think the dosage here, I think I even have a dosage on here. Yes, so standard dosage is half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon for kids, and a half a tablespoon to 1 tablespoon for adults. And if you happen to come down with something, then you can take a dose of it like every 2 to 3 hours instead of once a day. And then, you know, some people argue too that maybe you shouldn't take it every day, or that I've even heard some dietitians say that maybe you need to be careful when you're boosting your immune system to like wean back off of all your additional supplemental things when you're done, because almost like inducing scurvy when you go off of your high dose vitamin C and stuff like that. So, you know, as with anything, you know, talk to whoever your trusted healthcare professional is. If you see a doctor or a naturopath or a chiropractor or whoever it is that you talk to, because obviously I am not your doctor. So you guys figure it out and do what works for you. Okay, so I think mine is pretty good. And then another little item I like to do sometimes with my syrup, and when you put it in the fridge, it'll get thicker. It's because mine is a little bit liquidy right now. But I have this really little bottle that I got. Because I was drinking those like cans of bubbly, like carbonated water, but I didn't particularly like the cans. And although I wanted like the citrus flavor of the water, they have lime and lemon and different ones, but one, I was thinking about like the lining of the cans. And the citrus is a lot of times not a good combination. And two, you know, you're never sure what actually they're using for the flavor in those things. So this is cool. You can just charge it up, and then you have to do it, make sure the water's cold, because it makes better bubbles when the water's cold. And then you do your little cartridge and you shake it up a little bit, and then you go like that. And I can make elderberry soda, which I think is pretty cool. And it tastes good. Or like I use it and just put lemon, or a slice of lemon or a slice of lime in my water. And it's really, really refreshing. So yeah, I'd like to do that and have my elderberry soda, which is really tasty. All right. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I think that's about it for today. I have a lot of other recipes and things, so I'm thinking I may do some more series, live series later, and share some things, but we're gonna have tons of stuff on the website. We're still getting done with the beta testing, so hopefully we're gonna be done with that really soon, and then we'll be launching, and we'll be adding so much more stuff, and then we're gonna have all our resident advisors on there throwing in stuff. They're gonna be experts on their different topics, so they're gonna be jumping in and sharing all kinds of great information. And then we really want the whole community, all the users, everyone to be jumping in and sharing recipes and rating the recipes so that we can all kind of figure out what the best ones are, what works best, what tastes the best, what all the best everything is, so we can find all our information in one spot. We don't have to run around asking a million different Facebook groups about what's what and what to buy and what not to buy and what works. We'll have everything in one place, and I think it's gonna be awesome, and I'm really excited. And thank you so much, you guys, for coming and being here with me today. Looking forward to doing a lot more. Okay, all right, bye guys.